y'all, in this video I'm going to be reading 3 Emily Henry books and I'm super excited. And I've heard a lot about Emily Henry since she came out with Beach Read, and I'm unsure right now if that was her debut or not. But it was definitely a very talked about book. And then she followed up with People We Meet on Vacation, and now she has a 3rd book. And Book Lovers is actually the concept that appeals to me the most. And so that one, I requested it from my library a long time ago, and the hold is finally through. So I'm going to be listening to that one on audio first, and I heard that it's a really good audiobook. And then I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to finish off with Beach Read. So I'm going to be reading the books in like reverse order. But I fully damn well expect that I'm going to find at least one 5-star book in here. Yeah, I'm going to update you whenever I start Book Lovers.
Almost communication, all 3 votes. That trip, like my relationship, Libby asks, unused. She's 8. So everything so far makes sense.
Hey, so I got 30% into Book Lovers yesterday while I was journaling, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not really feeling it. I don't like this main character at all. She's so unrelatable to me. Anyway, so I was watching Katie Colson, and she was saying that she didn't really like it either. Yeah, I'm not gonna be DNFing it because I'm doing it for this video, but if I wasn't doing it for this video, then I would DNF it. And please ignore my hair. I did a hairstyle and it has overstayed its welcome, clearly. So yeah, I can say now I'm about 60% in. And some things I've picked up. There was a cute little scene in like a lake or a pond, and it was like steamy, girl. I would say that this book has turned around for me. Hey, so I started People We Meet on Vacation a few days ago, and I'm really liking it so far. But I just got to a smut scene, which was great. I feel like Emily Henry writes really good smut. Like, it's not cringy, it's not over the top, but it is perfect for the story. But you know that TikTok that's like, we're happy and in love, then what is this? That's how I feel, because I'm like, we're happy and in love, what is this? So far it is a very enjoyable read, and this entire vlog is going well. Hey, I'm leaning against the wall. And so I did start reading Beach Read, and I just want to, I guess, talk about my feelings so far. So Beach Read is about this girl named January and this guy named Augustus, and I have just figured out that January and Augustus could be like January and August, like the months, and completely slipped my mind. Anyway, it's really cute banter so far. It's one of those where it's like, yeah, you're handsome, but like, it's annoyingly handsome. And I love that. The spice is so good. But anyway, this is looking so good so far. It's looking to be a 5-star read. I'm quite a bit along with it. And yeah. Okay, so now I've finished all 3 books. And at first, I really didn't know what to expect. I kind of didn't even know what genre these books would be. I feel like with Emily Henry, I've heard that wasn't as much of a romance, but I definitely disagree. I think they were all 3 romances, which was great. And I had a fun time during this really shitty month. So let's talk about Book Lovers. This one is her most recent release. It came out in May 2022. This one follows this girl named Nora, and in the very beginning, it starts off like in the prologue talking about the trope of like the woman who gets broken up with at the end of a romance. So like the woman who is the bitch on the way for the guy to meet like the humble, small town, cute girl. And you know, she's the bitch who gets broken up with. So that's how she defines herself. And she's found herself in that situation many times, and so she's just kind of like a drag, I guess. And she is one of those people who's she's very tied to her work. It immediately was like girl boss, and I was like, I'm not having it, just something about it I'm not connecting with. They refer to her a lot in the book as a shark. And I don't know, she just was not my cup of tea at all. So anyway, so in like the first chapter, she goes to meet this guy named Charlie, who is a editor, and she's an agent in the publishing industry, and they do not get on at all. He hates the book that she is wanting him to edit, and so they're like at a standstill, and then they don't really talk again. And I think they might have like a couple of email exchanges, but I'm not sure, I don't remember. But so she goes on a vacation. This is a couple years later. She goes on a vacation with her sister to this small town in North Carolina, and she gets there and Charlie's there. I thought that this romance was really well thought out, but I feel like there was too many storylines that kind of clogged up the book and didn't leave enough space for the romance to shine. And then Nora and Libby had this codependent ass relationship that got on my nerves, and it was pretty one-sided. So Nora and Libby lost their mom when I think Nora was like a young adult, and Libby's her little sister, and Libby was like a teenager. And so Nora kind of felt like she had to be Libby's mom for a little while, but she just never stopped. But Libby is like a grown-ass woman now. Like, she's married, she has kids. Why is Nora like constantly feeling she needs to take care of Libby? It doesn't make any sense. Libby is perfectly fine. And Libby would tell her that, and then Nora was just like doing too much and kind of using that as like an explanation or excuse for why she was such a shark and why people didn't like her, and people thought that she was really cold and stuff like that. And then there was the fact that because Nora only wears heels, like that is her preferred thing, and she feels like that is her God-given right to just wear heels everywhere, and it's like her personality. And so they go to this small town in North Carolina, and Nora only packs heels. Why? Every time this woman stepped out of the house, I was stressed. Like I thought the Supreme Court let out another decision. I couldn't enjoy any time she was walking anywhere, because I'm like, if I were you, my feet would be just pounding right now. And then Nora is constantly having this like inner dialogue about how much she loves New York, and I cannot tell you how much I do not care. Maybe it's because I live in a state where my rights aren't recognized and she does, that I'm just kind of jealous. But you would think that this story took place in New York, but it only is in New York like a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end. And the other time is in North Carolina, and instead of focusing on this cute like small town and its scenery and different things like that, it's constantly Nora talking about how much she just wants to be in New York and how much she loves New York and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, can you stop now? Like, you're not saying anything that anybody doesn't already know in the world. Like, everybody says, oh, I love New York, I love New York, I love blah, 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 blah. It's like Disney World. When people are like, oh yeah, you know when you go to Disney World, I'm like, no, I've never been there. Do I want to be there? Hell yeah. But I've never been there, so can we stop talking about it? Because now I'm jealous. And that's how I feel about New York. Like, something I really liked about this book was that there was really good banter. I think out of all her books, this one had my favorite banter. And then something that I figured out that Emily Henry does really well is creating two characters that you can't imagine them with anybody else but with each other. I'll say that the third act breakup, there was a good reason for it, which is always good to have. And then the spice was so good because it's like it's teased a couple times there, and then it happens, and those were really good scenes. That was something that I came to like about her, is that she didn't write cringy spice or anything that was overly detailed or have any words or phrases in there that I'm like, oh, I hate that word. So yeah, great spice. So People We Meet on Vacation came out last year in 2021. Forgetting what year it is, just like our country. Anyway, so this came out last year, and this is a friends to lovers book. It follows this girl named Poppy and this guy named Alex, who are from very like close in proximity hometowns, but they'd never met each other. until college, and then they became best friends and they would go on this like big trip every summer. And now they haven't spoken in 2 years, and so Poppy is thinking about when's the last time that she was happy, and she says that it was on her last trip that she had with him, in which something bad happened, but we don't know what it was. And so she kind of hits him up, and they decide to go on another trip together, this time for like a family member of his wedding. And then in alternating chapters, we're getting the past where they're on all of these different vacations. So this one was definitely more of an adventure, because you do get where they're going to Palm Springs, so you have like a little bit more of a anchor setting. But then in alternating chapters, you're getting all these other places in the world, and just cool different things that they experience, different times in their lives as they are a little bit closer, a little bit further apart, where they're both single, where they're both in relationships with other people, where one of them is single, one of them isn't. And I love these characters. I love these characters together. So Alex is very type A. He is a teacher. He likes his khakis. He is terrible with technology. He's just a big nerd, and he's super cautious. And then Poppy, she's a little bit more on the wild side. So they're like opposites attract, but I love that in a romance. I think it's so cute. And then in the chapters where they're in Palm Springs, like the present day chapters, it's like the trip from hell, and I love that. If you love the trope of like a trip gone wrong, it's really nice because it allows for like constant comedic relief. And I love the chapters when they were in Palm Springs. They were so chaotic. These two also had really witty banter. Their banter was similar to, I guess, Book Lovers and Beach Read. Like, they all kind of have a similar vein of humor. My one big complaint with this book is that I hated the love confession, because it was one of those where it didn't seem like a love confession. It kind of just seemed like one person complaining about a bunch of different things, like, I hate doing this, and I hate doing this, and I hate doing that, but I'll do it for you. And it was so unromantic. Like, it really took me out of the story. That being said, did it make me cry? Yes, but it made me cry because I'm hormonal, but also because my rights are being taken away, but also because I felt like the shitty love confession was so bad that they weren't going to end up together. And I was like, no, how could that happen? And it made me cry. But that was like my only big complaint about the book, aside from something else that is not Emily Henry's fault. And that thing is, Alex Nilsson is literally my father. My dad has the exact same personality as Alex Nilsson, and it kept taking me out of the book because I'm like, this is the most unsexy character I could have imagined. Like, he's super cautious. Everyone thinks he's boring. Everyone hates when he's driving because he drives so slow. He has an old ass phone that he doesn't know how to use. He doesn't know how to take selfies. That's my dad. And when you're reading a romance and the character just keeps reminding you of your dad, it can very much take you out of the story, but that doesn't have anything to do with Emily Henry. It's just that it was a personal disconnect there, and it did affect my overall enjoyment, but like I said, it's not a problem with the book. I still absolutely recommend this to anybody. And then finally I have Beach Read. So Beach Read follows this girl named January and this guy named August his name was Augustus, sorry. So they met in college, and they were like college rivals. And then recently, so they haven't seen each other since then, but they're both been like struggling writers, and she struggled more than he has. But her dad just passed away, and she found out that her dad has this house, like this cabin in this town where he used to go to be with the woman that he was cheating on January's mom with. And so you're kind of in her head where she's grappling with her grief and like the idea of someone that she loved so much, she didn't really truly know, and she's hurt by what his actions were and the fact that she was lied to for so long. So her next door neighbor ends up being Augustus, the guy who was her rival in college. So they end up deciding that, like, they're both struggling with inspiration right now, and so they decide that they're going to switch genres. She's going to write some literary fiction, he's going to write a romance, and they kind of take each other on these little dates throughout the week so that he can learn to write romance and that she can kind of learn to write literary fiction. And they'll be like sitting in their kitchens, and they'll be like watching each other from across the, like, she'll be like looking out the window into his house and he'll look out the window into her house, and it's so cute. I love these characters. I love the struggles that they went through. Well, I don't love the struggles, but I love that they had those struggles. He's like recovering from a traumatic childhood and something else that is a spoiler, so I won't say. And they just felt really real and fleshed out, and exactly for each other. And they're like meeting each other at this place in their life where they both really need somebody, but they're both resistant because of, you know, reasons that are obvious if you read the book. It's also a small town trope, which is why for me it did remind me a lot of Book Lovers, actually. But I just feel like this book is everything that Book Lovers is, but better. And like, it's funny, there's a couple good smut scenes, and I like the way that it did the small town thing a little bit more. But at some point toward the end, it kept feeling like, when's the third act conflict gonna happen? Like, it didn't feel definitive, like, oh, what the fuck was that? And so I kept feeling like, okay, are they gonna break up? Is this gonna be the, like, where's the big conflict going to be? And then it happened, and it was so anticlimactic and kind of confusing, and I'm just like, oh my god, they're being so dumb right now. And I can't stand whenever a character, because people do this in real life, I can't stand whenever somebody does something that they know can be taken the wrong way, and then they're like, you didn't know what I was doing, like, you didn't ask. And okay, this is not necessarily what happened, but like, and people do this all the time when they just start getting into a relationship, because I think subconsciously they just want to feel like they're important to someone. And so it'll be like two people who are dating, and one of them will be like, oh, I'll see you at 7 tonight after I get off work. And the other person will be like, okay, cool. And then 7 comes around and they're not there. And so the person kind of calls them around 7:30 like, hey, you didn't show up, just want to make sure that you're okay. And then 8:30 rolls around, and then 9 o'clock, and that person finally shows up. And then now the other person is upset because they're like, wait a minute, you said you were going to be here at 7, and then you weren't answering any of my calls, and now you're finally here at 9. Like, it's been 2 hours. Why weren't you answering any of my calls? And then the other person is like, well, I went to drinks with my friends. I should be able to do that. And it's like, well, yeah, you are able to do that, but you knew that you had somebody else waiting. So why did you choose this specific day after you had already made plans with me to make plans with your friends at the exact same time? People do that because they want to know that you'd be upset by their absence. And so something similar to that happened, where it could have literally just been someone saying, here's the situation, and not even having to give all the details about it. But because they didn't, it just led to miscommunication, and it was so annoying. I hate when people do it so much. And then the love confession didn't leave me feeling assured personally. I wouldn't have immediately taken somebody back. I would have been like, wait a minute, that thing that you said there, let's talk about that. Like, maybe we should hold off and make sure that we're both really sure that we actually want to do this. And so because of that, unfortunately, that is the thing that made me, like, it's the one thing that made this book not perfect to me. But this would be one that I would reread, and I would recommend this one. I recommend all these books, but I think I'd recommend this one most. But I would just warn people, like, that third act is kind of whack. In the beginning of this video, I said that I was going to be kind of upset if I didn't have at least one 5-star read. So here are my ratings. For Book Lovers, I gave it 3.5 stars. For People We Meet on Vacation, I gave this one 4 stars. And for Beach Read, I gave it 4.5 stars. So unfortunately, I did not have a 5-star read, but I do have a new author to be excited about whenever they're going to release something. That being said, this video is over. I do consider it to be a success. At least there was nothing less than a 3-star. Like, I felt pretty good about all the books. And yeah, that is it. You guys take care. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you want, or leave a comment, anything you want.